What's up, everybody? It's Carpo. I'm walking through the park, heading home from taking my kid to kindergarten, or I should say, taking the paperwork in so my kid can go to kindergarten. And it's one of those decisions that a parent's like, you want to teach your own kid. And I start thinking about structure and how every parent wants to be able to have the time and to be able to educate their own child, but it's not something that's as easy as it seems. Homeschooling for active parents is very difficult, but I still may homeschool him in his middle school. I really don't want him to go to a high school. He may go to a charter school or something eventually, but anyway, I was thinking about how much it's going to change for him, life, and structuring, and he's going to have to start listening. It's one of those things where if you have kids, you understand how hard it is to teach your children to think independently, yet at the same time follow the rules. And nobody wants to turn their kid into a programmed behavior, you do this or else. And I never play I try to have a reason without playing that because I said so, or do as I say, not as I do. But even though a parent has to do those things, you have to teach a kid to do as I say, not as I do, because parents do stupid things. So you don't want your kids to do the same stupid things, but you have to give your kids enough space, So I have a 5-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and I'll tell you, they're very, independent in their ways of thinking. But at the same time, you have to have some sort of structure, or else they just run rampant. But I also have a 19-year-old who moved out last year, and he is a great kid. And when he was growing up, we questioned, are we doing this right? Did we take the right approach? Because we raised our kid with respect, to respect us rather than to fear us. And I think that's a major component of how to get a kid to understand what you're saying. A kid doesn't want to let his friends down, but parents are always something separate. So if you separate yourself as a parent, which you have to a degree, you're going to have, it's going to be hard, when you want to bond with your kid, and you have to be a parent, and you have to, follow the rules, and they have to follow the rules. But there's a certain amount of structure that you have to set forth without feeling like you're making your kid follow in the same messed up footsteps as so many others. And in other words, the question I never ask my kid is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Can't answer a question like that. I never could. I never had a dream of what I wanted to be. I wanted to be everything. I wanted to explore every avenue. But that small terms like that, simple things, really have a strong impact on kids. It gives them this idea that they have to do something rather than just be themselves. Nobody owes anybody anything except for to exist and to respect each other. And teaching kids to respect each other is a big one, but they have to learn that on their own. A parent can't just butt into every conversation, every argument between kids. I let them work it out until they call for my help or need it, or I feel that they're being abusive. But kids are awesome. I don't know what I'd be, how different I'd be without my children at this point in my life. They're just a phenomenal thing. Anybody who has kids and has a loving family, I feel bad for those who have great children but just didn't have a good relationship and couldn't work it out between the couple. It must be so hard, especially if one person still wants to make it work and the other just has no desire. And even worse, if the person who has no desire is doing it because they think the grass is greener on the other side, that they can find some better partner, which sometimes they can. Sometimes it's nobody's fault. And same thing with kids. You want to raise your kids to be respectful and responsible, but they're not always going to be. And when you see a parent that has a kid that's acting out, it's easy to point the finger and say, ooh, bad parenting. And a lot of the times it is. But sometimes it's the kid. Kids are all different. And children are as different as adults, and you can't expect all 5-year-olds to act the same. My two kids, younger kids, are so different from each other. But I imagine my oldest son, that's 19, one day my other kids will be hopefully as responsible and respectable as he is. And whatever may have happened through the years, what's important is that you become a whole-rounded person and respect and understand yourself and understand others. So, playground. Namaste, everybody.